Welcome to Truth Report, where we peel back the layers of power and politics to expose the raw truth. Tonight, the global energy landscape is reeling, caught in the crosshairs of escalating geopolitical tensions and a relentless pursuit of control.
From the immediate economic shockwaves hitting European consumers and Asian economies to the silent, long-term shifts in technological innovation, we're witnessing a dramatic reshaping of how the world powers itself.
We'll dive deep into the recent US-Israeli strikes on Iran, a conflict that has directly triggered seismic shifts in global gas and oil supplies, sending prices skyrocketing and exposing critical vulnerabilities across continents.
We'll analyze who truly benefits from this manufactured chaos, who pays the price, and how these seemingly disparate events are intricately linked to a broader struggle for dominance.
And we'll examine a beacon of scientific progress, quantum chemistry, a field that promises to redefine energy but exists in stark contrast to the brutal realities of today's fossil fuel-driven conflicts. This is Truth Report.
We begin tonight with the catalyst that has ignited much of this current energy crisis, a series of audacious US-Israeli attacks on Iran. According to Middle East Eye reporting, at least 131 Iranian cities have been significantly affected by these strikes.
This isn't just a border skirmish, Maya. We're talking about widespread military actions impacting a vast swathe of civilian infrastructure and population centers. The scale of this operation, targeting over 100 cities, points to a clear, deliberate strategy of profound destabilization.
And the why is crucial, Alex. These strikes are widely understood as part of a long-standing, covert campaign by both the United States and Israel to undermine Iran's nuclear program and its regional influence. It's a dangerous escalation in a shadow war that often spills into the open.
Precisely. The stated goals often mask deeper geopolitical ambitions, to contain a perceived threat, protect strategic allies, and maintain a delicate balance of power that heavily favors Western interests in a resource-rich region. The true cost, however, is borne by the Iranian populace.
Iran, for its part, has a history of asymmetric responses, often leveraging its proxies or targeting strategic assets. These recent attacks are designed to provoke, to test the limits, and to demonstrate a punitive capability that goes beyond mere deterrence.
The humanitarian implications of affecting 131 cities are staggering. While official statements focus on military targets, such widespread impact inevitably means disruption to civilian life, infrastructure, and essential services. This is collective punishment, plain and simple, dressed up as national security.
The intent behind such extensive targeting is to send an unambiguous message that Iran's regional assertiveness will be met with overwhelming force, and its domestic stability remains vulnerable. It's an act of extreme pressure, pushing the country closer to the brink.
And the international community's response, or lack thereof, speaks volumes. These actions, arguably in violation of international law, often face little more than symbolic condemnation from global bodies, highlighting a systemic failure to hold powerful states accountable for acts of aggression.
When we look at who benefits from this specific conflict, it's clear that the US and Israel perceive a gain in perceived leverage over Iran. They are attempting to weaken its hand, both domestically and internationally, through direct military action and economic pressure.
But it's not just nations. The global arms industry thrives on such heightened tensions. Every strike, every retaliation, every perceived threat fuels demand for advanced weaponry and defense systems, generating immense profits for corporations whose business model depends on conflict.
Conversely, regional stability suffers catastrophic damage. Civilians caught in the crossfire are the ultimate losers, facing displacement, economic hardship, and the constant specter of violence. This creates a cycle of grievance that can endure for generations.
And paradoxically, Alex, other oil and gas producers outside the immediate conflict zone can see an unexpected windfall. As instability rattles major producers, global prices surge, allowing others to capitalize on the fear premium.
This conflict isn't just about security, it's deeply entrenched in broader power structures. It underscores the enduring US doctrine of maintaining its military and economic hegemony in the Middle East, often through proxy conflicts and strategic alliances.
Israel's security doctrine, too, plays a central role, driven by a determination to neutralize perceived threats from Iran and its allies. The convergence of these two powerful national interests creates a volatile crucible where energy security and regional stability are constantly at risk.
We witness a perpetual cycle, intervention, reaction, and then calls for more intervention, with the vast energy reserves of the Middle East acting as both prize and weapon in this dangerous geopolitical chess game.
The immediate and profound ripple effect of these US-Israeli strikes on Iran can be seen in the global energy markets. Directly following these attacks, QatarEnergy, the world's largest exporter of liquefied natural gas, announced a halt in production. Al Jazeera confirmed this critical development.
This isn't a minor blip, Alex. QatarEnergy's decision to halt production at the world's largest natural gas field is a catastrophic blow to global supply chains. Middle East Eye reports that European gas prices nearly doubled in the immediate aftermath, a direct consequence of this strategic move.
Our investigation reveals that Qatar's decision wasn't isolated. Al Jazeera also reported that Saudi Arabia simultaneously announced the temporary closure of one of its largest oil facilities, following its own drone attacks. This indicates a coordinated or at least a highly reactive regional response to the escalating conflict.
The timing is anything but coincidental. This dual halt in energy production is a clear message from key Gulf states, demonstrating the immense leverage they hold over global energy supplies and their willingness to use it in response to perceived regional threats or instability.
Imagine the strategic implications: the world's largest LNG exporter and a major oil producer suddenly offline. It instantly tightens an already precarious global energy market, pushing prices to unprecedented levels and creating a climate of profound uncertainty for importers.
For Europe, this halt couldn't come at a worse time. Still grappling with the aftermath of losing Russian gas supplies, many European nations have increasingly relied on Qatari LNG to bridge the gap. This new disruption represents a severe setback for their energy security strategy.
Europe's pivot away from Russian gas has made it inherently more vulnerable to disruptions in other regions. Its dependence on Qatari LNG, a reliance that was supposed to enhance security, has now become a critical vulnerability, exposing the fragility of its energy diversification efforts.
This highlights a fundamental flaw in the global energy supply chain. Its extreme centralization and reliance on a handful of volatile regions mean that geopolitical instability anywhere can instantly translate into economic hardship everywhere. It's a system built on sand.
The most immediate losers are, without a doubt, European consumers and industries. Families face soaring heating bills, and businesses grapple with crippling energy costs, threatening jobs and economic stability. This isn't just about prices, it's about the very fabric of daily life.
And while Qatar halted production, it undeniably asserts its critical, indispensable role in the global energy matrix. This move, while costly in the short term, positions Qatar for greater leverage in future energy negotiations, demonstrating its market power.
Other LNG producers, particularly those in the United States and Australia, stand to benefit enormously. With a significant portion of Qatari supply off the market, demand will shift, driving up prices and profits for alternative suppliers. This is a redistribution of wealth, not just a market correction.
And let's not forget the financial speculators. In moments of extreme volatility, hedge funds and investment banks, often with inside information, make a killing. They profit from the chaos, leveraging fear and uncertainty to generate astronomical returns while ordinary people suffer.
This situation underscores the immense power wielded by petrostates. Their ability to weaponize energy supply in response to geopolitical events gives them an outsized influence on global economics and foreign policy, often dictating terms to energy-hungry nations.
Europe finds itself in a moral and strategic dilemma. Its need for energy forces it into complex relationships with nations whose human rights records or geopolitical stances may be questionable, creating a tension between economic necessity and ethical principles.
Ultimately, this crisis lays bare the brutal reality: geopolitics, not just supply and demand, is increasingly dictating global energy prices. The stability of our economies is now held hostage to the volatile political calculations of a few powerful actors.
The reverberations of these Middle Eastern conflicts extend far beyond Europe. Morgan Stanley, a leading investment bank, has issued a stark warning: Asia's profound oil dependence leaves it critically exposed after these US-Israel strikes on Iran. This according to the South China Morning Post.
This isn't a speculative forecast, Maya. Morgan Stanley's analysis highlights Asia's unique vulnerability, describing the region as more sensitive to oil price volatility than Europe or the US, primarily due to its manufacturing-intensive and export-reliant economies.
The numbers are damning. Asia's collective oil and gas trade deficit stands at a staggering 2.1% of its gross domestic product. Every sustained $10 increase in oil prices represents a massive drain on national wealth, directly impacting economic growth and stability.
Why is Asia so much more sensitive? Its industrial engines, particularly in nations like Japan, South Korea, China, and India, run on imported energy. These economies are built on transforming raw materials and energy into manufactured goods for export, making them acutely susceptible to input cost shocks.
This vulnerability means that rising energy costs directly translate into higher production expenses, making Asian exports less competitive on the global stage. It risks triggering widespread inflation and dampening consumer demand across the region.
The potential for cascading effects is immense. Higher energy prices impact transportation, food production, and virtually every sector of the economy. For developing Asian economies striving for industrialization, this represents a significant structural impediment, slowing progress and exacerbating poverty.
While the full extent of the every sustained $10 impact isn't detailed in the summary, historical precedents show such increases can wipe billions off GDP, trigger currency devaluations, and destabilize financial markets, leading to widespread economic pain.
This isn't just an Asian problem, it's a global one. If Asia's manufacturing and export engines falter, the entire global supply chain experiences disruption. This means higher prices for consumers worldwide and a slowdown in global trade, pushing us closer to a potential recession.
The immediate losers are, unequivocally, Asian consumers and businesses. They bear the brunt of higher energy costs, which permeate through every aspect of daily life, from transportation to food prices, eroding purchasing power and profit margins.
Export-reliant industries in Asia face a double whammy. Higher operational costs make their products less competitive, potentially leading to reduced orders, factory closures, and significant job losses. This threatens the stability of entire national economies.
And let's be candid about who benefits from this analysis. Morgan Stanley, an investment bank, issues these warnings not purely out of altruism. Their role is to advise clients on navigating market volatility, often profiting from the very instability they highlight through trading and financial services.
Meanwhile, oil-producing nations that are not directly embroiled in the Middle East conflict stand to gain substantially. As Asian demand remains high and supply becomes constrained, they can command premium prices, accumulating immense wealth at the expense of importing nations.
This crisis starkly illustrates how the energy insecurity of the global south is often exploited, or at least exacerbated, by geopolitical maneuvers primarily driven by Western interests. The economic fallout disproportionately affects those with the least resilience.
The West's foreign policy decisions, including sanctions and military actions in energy-rich regions, have far-reaching, often unintended, consequences that ripple out, creating severe economic pain in distant, often developing, nations.
It's a stark reminder of the financialization of energy markets. Banks and financial institutions increasingly profit from the volatility and uncertainty caused by geopolitical events, creating a system where instability can be a pathway to immense wealth for a select few. Now, let's shift our focus dramatically, from the immediate geopolitical inferno to a realm of profound scientific promise. Amidst these urgent crises, another energy story is unfolding in the laboratories of the world: how quantum data can teach AI to do better chemistry. This is according to IEEE Spectrum.
This is a stark contrast, Maya. While the world grapples with fossil fuel scarcity and geopolitical volatility, a quiet revolution is underway in quantum chemistry and artificial intelligence, holding the potential to fundamentally redefine our energy future.
At its core, quantum chemistry is about understanding the fundamental properties of matter at the atomic and subatomic level. It allows scientists to predict how molecules will behave, how they will react, and how they can be manipulated to create new materials or processes.
The integration of AI accelerates this incredibly complex field. AI algorithms can process vast amounts of quantum data, identify subtle patterns, and simulate the behavior of new molecules with unprecedented speed and accuracy, far beyond human capability.
Imagine the implications: super-efficient batteries that charge in minutes and last for weeks, groundbreaking catalysts that make clean energy production, like green hydrogen, exponentially cheaper, or materials that can capture carbon from the atmosphere with unparalleled efficiency.
This fusion of quantum mechanics and AI promises bespoke materials, precisely engineered at the atomic level for specific energy challenges. We're talking about designing optimal solar cells, advanced superconductors, or more stable and powerful nuclear fusion components from first principles.
However, we must acknowledge the immense chasm between this cutting-edge research and the pressing geopolitical energy crises we've just discussed. These are long-term investments, requiring decades of research, development, and massive capital before widespread impact.
The question becomes, is this a hopeful distraction, a distant dream while the world burns through its fossil fuel reserves and its geopolitical stability? Or is it, in fact, the only real, sustainable pathway out of the endless cycle of fossil fuel dependence and conflict?
When we consider who benefits from this technological leap, it's clear humanity as a whole stands to gain from cleaner, more efficient, and potentially limitless energy sources, leading to a healthier planet and more stable economies.
Innovators, researchers, and tech companies investing heavily in this space are poised to become the new titans of the energy industry, shifting power away from traditional fossil fuel giants and towards intellectual capital and scientific discovery.
Conversely, the incumbent fossil fuel industries, despite their current dominance, face a looming existential threat. If quantum AI-driven energy solutions prove viable, their long-term market dominance will inevitably erode, forcing a painful transition.
And the nations that prioritize and invest in this fundamental research now will be the energy superpowers of tomorrow. Those who fail to adapt risk being left behind, reliant on outdated systems while the world moves forward.
This dynamic represents a profound struggle between the established energy powers, rooted in extraction and combustion, and the disruptive potential of emerging technologies that promise a paradigm shift in how we generate and consume power.
The control of this advanced technology, the intellectual property, and the manufacturing capabilities will define the next era of global power dynamics, creating new geopolitical fault lines and new forms of competition.
The ultimate question remains, in a world consumed by immediate energy crises, fueled by conflict and exploitation, are we capable of the collective will and foresight to invest adequately in fundamental change, or are we too fixated on the symptoms to address the cause? What we've uncovered tonight, Alex, is a stark and deeply troubling contrast. On one hand, we have the immediate, brutal realities of geopolitical conflict in the Middle East, directly orchestrated by powerful nations.
And on the other, the profound economic fallout, where innocent civilians and entire regions like Europe and Asia are paying the price in soaring energy costs and destabilized markets. The common thread is clear: energy is not just a commodity, it is a weapon, a source of profound vulnerability, and the ultimate prize.
These aren't isolated incidents. The US-Israeli strikes on Iran were a direct trigger for Qatar's strategic halt in gas production and Saudi Arabia's facility closure. These actions, in turn, sent shockwaves through European gas prices and exposed Asia's deep, structural dependence on volatile oil markets.
The human cost of these energy wars is immense. It's in the doubling of heating bills for a family in Berlin, the factory closures in Seoul, and the constant fear of escalation for citizens across the Middle East. This isn't abstract economics, it's tangible suffering.
We are living in an era where the illusion of energy security has been shattered. Diversification efforts, like Europe's shift to Qatari LNG, prove inadequate when the very sources of that diversification become embroiled in the same geopolitical conflicts. There is no true safe harbor in a system so interconnected and vulnerable to power plays.
And then, we have the tantalizing promise of quantum chemistry and AI, a potential future where energy is abundant, clean, and perhaps, decoupled from geopolitical conflict. But it serves as a stark reminder of how far we are from that reality, trapped in cycles of resource-driven violence and exploitation.
The truth is, the global energy system is rigged. It's built on a foundation of dependency, conflict, and the relentless pursuit of power, often at the expense of ordinary people and the planet itself. We must demand transparency from our leaders and question the narratives that justify these actions.
At Truth Report, we believe that understanding these intricate connections is the first step towards accountability and change. We will continue to investigate, to expose, and to shine a light on the forces that truly shape our world.
Thank you for joining us tonight on Truth Report.